Well, it is an absolute honor, and I'm personally quite excited to have the one and only Curt Schilling with us. He is the chairman and founder of 38 Studios, working on the codenamed Copernicus MMO, as well as being this rather well-established baseball player. Before we do get to 38 Studios, one question. This is the week in which you have announced your retirement from baseball. Was there any significance to this week? I can't help but know that obviously the Games 8 was going on, where you and I did a talk there, as well as the Game Developers Conference.
Yeah, I've tried to use my business acumen to exploit the media to the best of my abilities, and I figured that announcing my retirement the week of GDC would exploit that. No, there wasn't. There was no timing. It was just we had decided a while back, and it just felt like the right thing to do. I was leaving Boston to come to San Francisco to do GDC, so I figured I was going to be out of town for a week. That might be the best, most opportune time to get away from everything and not have to deal with the phone ringing off the hook. So, it was just a natural fit.
Well, and obviously this is going to now allow you even more time to engage with, really, I think, has always been kind of a love of yours, which is video games. How long is this affair that you've had with video games? How long has it lasted?
If you ask my wife, a century. If you ask me, not long enough. Ever since I was a kid. I mean, in 1980, I was 13, 14 years old. I saw my first Apple. I remember playing Star Trek, the ASCII version. The first game I truly remember falling in love with was Wizardry on the old Apple. I was a very weird amalgam of things as a kid. I loved fantasy role playing. I read Lord of the Rings when I was like 7 years old, but I played baseball since I was 4, and they just never kind of met in the social synergy of high school and all the things that go on with that. So, but gaming has been a kind of in the background of everything I've ever done, and moving away from baseball, it moved into the foreground, and for me it was just kind of a natural transition.
Was baseball and gaming, when you were playing pro, were the two things exclusive? Did you have the opportunity, actually when you're on the road? I mean, was that a good time to be able to sort of sit down and get some gaming done?
I guarantee you I had more time available to me over the last 23 years of the game than you have. We travel, for 2 reasons. Number one, we travel a lot. For 8 months a year we're on the road. Number two, I'm a starting pitcher. So I didn't pitch but once every 5 days. So all-nighters were very easy for me to pull. And back in the EverQuest days when raids were all-night things, that was a luxury and a perk. I've got some rather embarrassing duration stories of how long I was online, how long I played. But, it was in the society that we grew up in that is existent now, putting yourself out there, being in a place socially, a bar or club, hanging out with guys is not really conducive to positive things happening, and it was just one of those. I've always loved it and been passionate about it, but and it served both. It had a dual purpose. I loved gaming, but I also had a laptop long before laptops were. I had a laptop when they weighed 10 pounds. I carried it on the road with me. I used the computer technology that I grew up with to help me get an edge in my profession, and it was something that I think gave me a huge edge over the last 15 years of my career.
When you were playing EverQuest and going on these raids, or when it was WoW or EverQuest 2, did the other players know that they were with Curt Schilling? Did you try to present yourself as who you were?
Not initially. Eventually, everybody knew, and the reason that is because it was never a big deal, which was very cool. I got into MMOs and I had fun with them for the anonymity part. I think almost the opposite reason why a lot of people play, to be heroic and to do special things and to have people have high opinion of you. I enjoy those things within the game, but I played for the opposite reasons. Just kind of unwind, to hang out with people in a quote-unquote social environment, and I'm sure there's politicians all over the world going nuts over that one. But for me, it was a very relaxing environment. And the bigger piece to me was that I have 4 children. My wife Shauna and I have 4 kids, and my kids have grown up on computers. I introduced them to EverQuest at a very young age because when I was on the road, it was a way for me to play games with my kids. And, that was always something that I think got lost in the shuffle and still today is, especially for parents like me that travel. I can be connected in an online world in just about any game with appropriate content with my kids anywhere I am in the world. And that's to me it's a lot funner than a phone call, for them especially.
And it's also, you're sort of less the authoritative body in your relationship with your children. You're kind of all on equal footing because you're working together to do something.
Absolutely. And if you position it right and you position the ability to play it properly with your children, there's a lot of pluses to this. If you get them interested and it's fun and involving, they understand the dynamics of teamwork, having a specific role, doing a specific job. Reading is a big thing for me. Using a keyboard, typing. All of the little things that you might think are just kind of part of doing it, they're little nuances that I think help. And all of that, to me, requires the controlled environment piece first, understanding you don't walk away from your kid on Friday and have them go to sleep Sunday night and being online all weekend, but that's just for me to do. But there was a lot of pluses to it. If I've never been one to support the computer games are a social problem agenda. It's parents are a social problem. If you allow a computer game to affect the way your kids see the world or act in the world, that is 100% on the parents, and it always has been, and always will be.
I think you just made a lot of viewers out there really happy with that. Moving on to, obviously, 38 Studios. You are currently in development on an MMO. Obviously, that's a very ambitious type of game to undertake. Why did you decide to kind of go for the big one at the outset rather than, say, work on a shooter on a small strategy game?
Ignorance, probably first and foremost. I had no idea. It's my passion inside the space. Gaming is a passion. MMOs inside the space are very much a passion for me. I wanted to do something that I really wanted to play. And I've played so many games made by people that didn't like the games they made. And I've watched so many games being made by people that didn't really like the games they were making. And when you play a game, when you play a Total War, from Sega, when you play a creative assembly game, it's very clear to you that every one of the people that made that game is a passionate, incredibly intense RTS fan. That to me, you can feel that when you play Rise of Nations. The guys and girls of Big Huge Games are obsessed with their product being fun and cool. When you play WoW, it's clear to me that all the people that made WoW are incredibly passionate MMO players. That was the kind of the no-brainer for this. Having RA makes fantasy a no-brainer. Having Todd makes fantasy a no-brainer. And RA is a hardcore MMO player. And I am a hardcore, and the initial team is very West Coast centric, and they all came from EverQuest, from EverQuest 2, from WoW, and Dark Age of Camelot.
So you have this very enthusiastic group of people that sort of know what they like and they want to make it happen. But how do you get that all to occur in a timely fashion?
Well, it starts at the top. It starts with me, and it starts with Brett, and it starts with me as from a company-wide philosophy standpoint. Inside the studio and deliverance of a product starts with Brett. And Brett Close, our president and CEO, has shipped. He was one of the key figures in the Medal of Honor franchise. His career is littered with achievement in shipping product. And everybody under Jen McClain came from Comcast. And Travis McGathy, Jason Roberts, Gavin Wishaw, Paul Mock. These people have all been involved in multiple. We have people from every MMO that's been made since Ultima Online. And that's hugely important. But at the end of the day, it's a responsibility. One of the differences I think that we have at 38 Studios is, and I've said it since day one, was you're never going to work for someone that cares more about you than I do, that cares more about your family than I do. Just be on time and bust your ass. And that translates to mean production when you have talented people. Incredibly talented people that are on time and that are committed to each other can't help but deliver product. If they're passionate about it, they're going to deliver a product they're incredibly passionate about, and they're going to complement each other in a way that a World Series championship team would.
Obviously, there's a sense that this could be one hell of an MMO out there.
I think so.
Yes. What more can you say about it? Obviously, you don't want to detail the specifics, but in terms of sort of whetting the appetite.
The hard part is what more do I want to say and what more can I say? I want to say everything. I'm a gamer. I love to tell people really cool stuff. But what can I say? Not much. I mean, story is a integral key piece to what we're doing. It's episodically driven, which we've made no mistake about it. And it's fantasy based. We released very little concept art last year. I had hoped we were going to really come out this year and say, here it is, check it out, and we can't wait to ship it. Probably not going to happen to the degree I really wanted to this year. But again, it goes back to trusting the people that are in charge of the process. They've shipped games. Todd and RA both understand intellectual property and how far ahead of actually having something on the market do you want to tell people about it, because we as gamers have this insanely ridiculous set of expectations that we put to any product that we hear long ahead of launch. And it's not fair. First of all, it's not fair to the gamers, which are our customers, and that's who we care about. But more importantly to me, it's not appropriate and right for the 38 Studios family. These people need to be in an environment where they're delivering a product that they believe is finished, polished, and as incredibly fun as it can be, not because expectations have gotten to a point where we just need to get it out the door, because we've watched those games come out time and time and time again, and what's happened to them.
Well, I got to say, I've been excited prior to our talk today, and I'm still even more excited coming out of it. I wish you all the best
Thank you.
in your new career.
Appreciate it. Thanks.